Hi, I'm back here again with SwiftPOS back office, and in this video I'm going to be covering a few of the things that I glossed over in the last video to do with product records and product details. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and I'm going to navigate to products and the product records screen. I'm going to filter out the same products that I had last time, so I'm filtering out the category hot drinks and every product with mug in the name. So those are all my mugs. I'm going to go ahead and full edit the first one in the list, and we're back into the full edit screen of the product. So the first thing I will point out is the product code and the PLU. These are both unique identifiers for the product. They can't be duplicated anywhere else in the database. You can't use the same product code for two different products, and likewise with the PLU. The PLU can only contain numbers, however the product code can contain numbers and letters. In general, they're usually the same, however the product code might contain a prefix, so for example C for coffee, or whatever you choose to set it as. Over on the middle top of the screen, you have the product type. Here you've got listed 4 different product types: non-inventoried, purchased, recipe, and production. For a product like this, we would typically set it as non-inventoried because we don't purchase a flat white mug from a supplier, and you might recipe it if you were doing stock control at that level, but in general a product like this is going to be set as non-inventoried. Now, setting a product as non-inventoried is basically going to remove any suppliers or product suppliers from the list, as well as zero off any stock on hand that you might have. The grid down the bottom here is also going to change a little bit depending on what product type you have selected for a product. So we'll cover that in a bit more detail. With a non-inventory product, you've got an entry for each different location. In this grid, you have an entry or a line entry for each different location, where you can individually control certain aspects of that product. So for example, you might specify the cost as being $2 in that particular location. You can also deactivate a product in a given location if it's not used there. That's primarily just to stop a clerk from accidentally bringing up that product where it isn't being sold or shouldn't ever be sold. This grid also contains the date that the product was last sold, so I don't know, that might be useful to you. You can also change the description and report group if you want to. These are similar in terms of how they work, but they're used for different reasons. So for example, the cell category is primarily relevant at the POS, where you might have category-driven kitchen printing or drinks printing, or you might have a category-based search function on the keyboard somewhere. The group or report group is typically used for reporting on particular kinds of products, and depending on your preferences or requirements, some of these might be more specific than others. So for example, you might have a cell category that contains just mug products, but they might be included with all sorts of other products. More broadly, anything that falls into the coffee and tea category. The size field here denotes the size of the product. In this instance, it's just a mug of coffee, so the size is going to be 1 each. If this were a different kind of product, let's say a can of Coke, if you click on the little ellipse here, you might like to set that to mils and specify how many mils the can contains. So 330 mils or something like that. If that was maybe a 6-pack of Coke or beer or what have you, you can put 6 in the size and set that to each, so 6 each. That's not very relevant for the kind of product I'm modifying here, but it is relevant for things that you might do stock control on, specifically purchased items and recipe items. So for now, I'm just going to set this as a purchased item to demonstrate a few more things in here. I'm going to save my changes there. And you can see that the grid down the bottom has changed a little bit. Importantly, this allows you to add suppliers. So over on the left hand side here, if you click on the suppliers button, you can build a list of different suppliers where you might purchase this item from, and that's useful when you're doing product or supplier invoicing and invoicing products in. You can, well, this is blank at the moment, but you can add a new supplier to the list, clicking add, and then the little ellipse just next to supplier, and that will list off all of the different suppliers that you currently have in the database. So I'm just going to choose Coca-Cola for now. You can give it a unique order code if you want to. Minimum cases and units is used to warn you when stock levels are dropping low. And if there had been previous purchases, you would see unit costs and various data in these fields, but that's not the case here. So I'm going to set that guy as the preferred supplier. And save and close. Over on the left hand side here, you've also got barcodes, which might be useful to you. If this were, let's say, a can of Coke, you might like to put the barcode in here so that when it's scanned with a barcode scanner, it comes up automatically at the POS. You can add several different barcodes, however you can only add the same barcode one time. You can't have the same barcode attributed to 2 different products. Now I'm going to change this to recipe item and save my changes and confirm. This is warning me that it's going to remove any suppliers that I just set up, which is fine. And again, the grid down the bottom here has changed a little bit. Most importantly, the suppliers button is no longer available. I can't click on that and get access to it. But the sourced from button is now available. So if I click on that, I can start building a recipe. I'm not going to cover recipeing in too much detail in this video. However, if you are interested in knowing more about that, I will create another video on that subject, and I'll chuck a link in the description so you can check that out. That pretty much covers everything there is to cover in the product full edit screen, at least most of the fields that you interact with on a daily basis. If you're ever not quite sure what a field or a tick box or a button does, you can always check out the help file by going to the help button in the top right hand corner, or by pressing F1 on your keyboard, and in there you'll see screenshots with various descriptions of the various product details, explaining what they do and why they're there. Anyway, in the next video I'm going to be creating a brand new product from scratch and going over the various considerations you might have when doing that. So check that one out, and I hope this one has been helpful for you, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.